groups in the east of Congo. So it's unclear just yet who was responsible, but it seems a safe assumption that it was one of these armed groups and probably looking to liberate many of their members.
Why aren't these prisons, I mean, they're huge as well, why aren't they better defended, especially as they had, well, some sort of warning? It's not like it's the first time.
Yeah, I mean, this goes to underlying security issues that exist throughout the state and shows really an inability to defend these prisons. There are questions being asked today of the Justice Minister of the government. Why is there better security, and why is no one facing a price for this series of prison attacks? As you mentioned, there was a massive prison break in the capital of Kinshasa about a month ago in which some 4,000 prisoners escaped. The head of the prison was relieved of his duties, but there's been no one higher up in the government who's faced any consequences for that.
Right, 4,000, you say. I mean, how unstable, how many of these groups are there around the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Well, it's difficult to put an exact number on it, but some researchers tried recently to figure out exactly how many rebel groups are operating in the east of Congo, and the number they came up with was about 70. But it's always difficult to know. You have splinter groups and groups that have foreign backing, groups that are purely locally grown. But it's safe to say that there are dozens of these groups operating throughout Congo, and what is concerning is that we've seen an increase in militia activity, not just in the east, where we've traditionally seen militant activity in Congo, but growing instability in the center of Congo, where there's been an insurrection last year, which has resulted in hundreds of deaths.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us. That's Reuters journalist Aaron Ross joining us from the capital, Kinshasa.
And we end this hour with Russia. The opposition leader in the country, Alexei Navalny, has called on protesters to gather for an unauthorized rally in Moscow later today. Anti-corruption protests will be expected, all parts of opposition to President Vladimir Putin. Now, speaking of Putin, the Oscar-winning American film director Oliver Stone has just finished a documentary on Mr. Putin. He was given hours of access to the Russian leader, and his documentary begins airing in the US tonight. Oliver Stone's been speaking to the BBC's Laura Trevelyan about his impression of the president.
I would say he's an extremely disciplined man. He answered every question. There was no editing involved, and there was no list, no demand for questions in advance. He was quite open. I never saw him lose his temper. Very calm, controlled. He thinks things out in advance. He's very much a thoughtful man. He does his homework.
But you've spent all this time with a man who has been called a ruthless opponent, accused of killing his political opponents, even.
If you believe the tabloids.
But did you ever worry that you might be unwittingly a tool of Putin propaganda?
If I was, then, you know, it's certainly an adventure, but I don't buy those old spy wars. You know, the English are great at inventing James Bond sort of scenarios, Smersh. I didn't see him as Dr. Barrett. He's a very rational man. He's an unpretentious man, unpretentious. And I think the image of him as a built-up kind of macho sportsman, dominating, it's just not true.
Is it your impression from these hours of interviews that Vladimir Putin genuinely wants a better relationship with the West?
Absolutely. I can't tell you. There's just no doubt in my mind. If you watch the 4 hours, you cannot doubt it. I mean, he wants good relations. He referred to the United States consistently as our partner. I never heard a bad word.
Vladimir Putin is a former KGB operative. He understands the importance of television. He understands the importance of image. Is it possible that he's using you to send a message that isn't really a true one, that he doesn't really want to use?
Okay, well then what? He certainly, it's an elaborate ruse, but he knows that I'm not going to change American policy. But what I'd like to do is contribute to a consciousness of what he's saying.
You asked Vladimir Putin directly, did Russia hack the US election? And he tells you it's all lies. Do you accept that?
He didn't put it that way, but he thought it was a preposterous statement.
But did you believe him when he said that
absolutely.
Russia didn't?
I absolutely believe that there's all smoke and no fire there.
Would you agree with President Donald Trump then when he says that stories about Russia hacking to influence the US election are fake news?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think it is, and I think it's a political, as Putin said, I think it's an internal political battle in America. And I think it's obscured the possibility of research operations. It's stalled everything. You know, I'm not defending Mr. Trump because he talks, his view of the world is something we need to hear.
Film director Oliver Stone talking there to our colleague Laura Trevelyan about his four-part documentary on President Putin. It begins airing